This is PJNET.TV, and this is my perspective and comments. In this video segment of My Perspective and Comments, we cover politics, society here and abroad, and the events of the day that are shaping our nation. PJNET.TV, My Perspective and Comment, coming to you with a worldview, one nation under God. Hello and welcome to My Perspective and Comments. And I want to start out, as we have for some time now, talking and updating regarding COVID, some updates. And I've got a few questions I want to ask right now and just to throw out there for you. One, surrounding COVID. And if we discuss or we want to discuss anything to do with prophylactics and therapeutics, do you know what that means? Do you know what prophylactic or therapeutic means? And what are their functions? And if we would want to discuss the meaning of what a vaccine is, what are vaccines developed, and what are they supposed to do? You know, I'd like to be able to discuss that, and especially surrounding COVID. Those are discussions that should be had. But I want to right now kind of put the brakes in time out here when it comes to discussing COVID and therapeutics and prophylactics and vaccines, because YouTube has their selected authorized voices that are watching anything that is discussed on YouTube, and if it doesn't fit with the authorized or authoritative experts, then YouTube seems that they want to go in and silence you or take you off their so-called platform, which really isn't a platform. We're all finding out now that big tech is more of their publishers, their editors, and they need to be removed from those protections when it comes to free speech and people that are being discriminated by YouTube to be able to sue and take them to court when they discriminate and censor voices on their in their company. So at this point, you know, what YouTube seems to be doing now is kowtowing to the government, and they're moving forward in what the government is telling them that they need to do. Like the government has already told YouTube and big tech that they want silencing when it comes to COVID, and it sure seems like YouTube is complying to the government's demands, which is problematic. So again, YouTube is in this game. They're silencing. They're doing the government's bidding right now when it comes to that. So I just wanted to get that out because at this point, when it comes to COVID and discussing COVID, we're going to move to at least this section of when we're discussing the COVID, we're going to bring COVID updates to you from YouTube. So I will leave a link in the chat below, chat room below, a link to my Rumble page where you can get the updates on what's been taking place with COVID, what's been taking place with infections, what's been taking place in Israel regarding them, what they're seeing, regarding some of the spikes that are taking place, and some of the proposed getting back to the lockdowns, and everybody's going to have to wear masks again. At least that's what the government, some of these states' governments are going to try and push. And I think they're going to be in for a rude awakening. But we'll discuss that in the at the Rumble, the free speech video platform, where you can discuss these things without the censorship and the boot of YouTube. And again, Section 230, there needs to be legislation to remove those protections from these platforms that are censoring Americans. So at this point, I'd like to have us take a look at what's been taking place over the last couple weeks. And one of the things that have been in the forefront or in the news right now, again, critical race theory. And this particular event took place in Minnesota. A fourth grade girl was a rude awakening when she was asked to fill out a survey, an equity survey. And she she told her story to that school board there in Minnesota, and was telling about going into a classroom and a teacher giving her this survey, and there were some problematic things that took place, like that there were concerns about questions like gender and what gender did they identify as. And this girl, her name was Haley Yasgar, she felt concerned, and in fact, Haley is from the Riverside Intermediate School there in Minnesota. And when she saw this, she was looking around, and some of the other classmates were confused too. In fact, a boy in her class asked a question regarding this, to the teacher, and the teacher tried to explain what that question was all about. He still didn't understand what she was, what she was getting at. So he asked her about, well, I'd like to bring this to my parents and ask them what is going on and what the meaning is here regarding this question. And the teacher flat out said, no, you can't discuss this and bring this to your parents. So this left Haley very confused and really nervous and uncomfortable at what the teacher was saying, and almost banning this boy and banning the classroom, but for sharing or by even questioning about going to their parents with this survey. So the mother of Haley was, when she heard what was taking place, she was livid, and she took it to national news. So Haley ended up on Fox and Friends, and they asked her, well, what happened here? And she basically said, this critical race theory and a lot of questions regarding that, and also gender and transgender. And she reiterated her nervousness and being very uncomfortable when the teacher pushed back against this boy who simply wanted to let his parents know and share this with their parents regarding what's this survey talking about, and what do they want for an answer. So there we see critical race theory raising its ugly head. We see transgender being subtly pushed in the classroom, and it just goes along with what Star Air shared with us last week in this critical race theory, transgender, and all the deviancy surrounding the transgender movement at this point, and the confusion and this indoctrination that is being thrust upon our school children. So I think we need to definitely be prepared, and that we're going to see more of this. In fact, there's reports coming out through every week. There's a report talking about critical race theory and the transgender issues that seem to appear in the news. There'll be more on that, and we'll keep you apprised at what's been taking place and the pushback that we are seeing from concerned parents raising their voice and saying, no, this isn't going to stand. You're not going to indoctrinate our kids. And we want the school board, we want the superintendent accountable, and if they don't listen to us, then it's time for them to go. And we are seeing school boards being changed out because of their support, and they're forcing this agenda on the parent over the parents' objectives, objections to it. So we'll keep you apprised on what's been taking place surrounding critical race and this transgenderism that's being pushed in our schools. I'd also like to talk a bit about what's been going on in Chicago. What hasn't been happening there over the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and especially under this mayor, Chicago mayor, Lori Lightfoot. And she's in the news again, and she's talking about the same thing regarding she doesn't want to have, she doesn't want to be interviewed by any white reporters. She said, no, I don't want, this city hall here in Chicago looks more like the 1950s, and I'm unapologetic regarding this. I don't want to be interviewed by any white reporters anymore. Now, she won't answer. Why is the Chicago still continuing to be a shooting gallery of black on black crime? The city is in decay. Criminals running amok. Criminals running the town. But she won't talk about that. She'll change the subject and say, "Hey, you're not the right color to ask me those questions." So here we go. A failed city, and no one is holding this mayor accountable for the failure that's taken place over her tenure and the history of what's been going on in Chicago. And we're seeing the liberals in Washington. Are actually in Washington and in many of these liberal states. They're trying to get ready. The lockdowns, they're going to try. They're going to try and tell free Americans that when the lockdowns were lifted and the masks were taken off, they want to now come down and say, yeah, we got to lock you back down again and put your masks back on. And I'll tell you, are they going to get away with it? I don't think free Americans this time are going to say, oh yeah, okay, yeah, we're saving people. I think that the libs have totally underestimated now. The gig is up. And Americans are not going to go back to the tyranny of being locked down again and forced to wear masks. Now they're trying, the liberals and this Biden is trying to incorporate companies to do their dirty work. And I think the companies are going to be in for a rude awakening when it comes to forcing people that they have to wear a mask or they have to get a shot. We'll see this. This is almost real time. It's happening right now before us. And I think that we are starting to see more, and we're starting to see some in Hollywood say, what's going on here? We're not going back to this, are we? And just talking the total insanity that's taking place here. And once again, no science. And as I've been saying before, Yeah, we know what the science is. The question is it medical science or is it political science? And I think we all know what's going on here. This is a political exercise on how they can control the American people and the tyranny that they can bring towards the American people, and that's what we're seeing. You're going to do what we tell you to do. Take the shot. That's their mandate, and you got Cuomo out there almost saying those words verbatim. So tyranny trying to rear its ugly head again, and I think these politicians, these governors, and these so-called lawmakers are going to be in for a rude awakening when they try and force Americans to go against what they don't want to do. So more to come on that for sure at this point. Pelosi was in the news, but I think what I want to focus in and give a kudos and shout out. I don't know if you heard Chip Roy from Texas, congressman from Texas, on the floor of the House this week, but he was calling out Pelosi and this crazy, everybody's got to go back to wear masks when you come onto the floor. And I'll tell you, Chip furious with her, and he went after her with both barrels, and basically calling out the hypocrisy that was taking place there. Here, as he mentioned, a quick shout out and summary. He said, look, you've got COVID patients, or COVID illegal immigrants coming across the border, coming into our nation with COVID, and you're sending them all through the country. Nobody's saying boo to that. Nobody's saying you got to stop that. They got COVID. No problem. No masks. Come on in. Come on in the southern border. Not an issue. But yet and still, they're gonna tell the Congress people, no, you got to put a mask on before you can come onto the House. Just a quick summary of what Chip Roy he blasted Pelosi and these liberal Democrats, these crazies in the House regarding what they're trying to do now. So now they want to bring their tyranny to the House floor. So Chip was having none of that, and that video really has been going viral for his pushback. And more Americans need to take that energy and that pushback nationwide. And it was good to see Congressman Chip Roy from Texas standing up for America and standing up strong in the House of Representatives. So I'd like to, at this point, have us. I've tried to bring a message or a special program or a clip, say like a Tucker Carlson or a Glenn Beck, bringing an interview or something that is relevant for us and what's been taking place in the nation. Well, there's another show that has really caught my eye, and I've enjoyed taking in the content that this show brings. He's patriotic. He's a 2-time Emmy-nominated actor, singer, songwriter, and he's an on-air talent. And he has a show called The Bo Show. His name is Bo Davidson, and I've been really impressed with some of I believe he has a weekly program that he shares. Patriotic, loves this nation, and he had as his guest, and which we'll be watching here in a moment, where he has rockers Eric Clapton and Van Morrison, who are sharing what has been taking place in their lives in their industry, and they are Bo will be having a few songs that they have done talking about COVID and what brought some songs talking about the lockdowns and what's been taking place surrounding the COVID tyranny. Now, that doesn't follow what you hear a lot from these left-wing medias and Hollywood, but these two have stood strong and gone against the grain. And right now, I want to share this because Eric is talking about, his hesitancy. He doesn't want to discriminate. He wants everybody to come to see his shows. And if there's a venue that says, if you're not vaccinated, you can't come, he said, I don't want anything to do with performing in that venue. Everybody better be welcome when they come to his show. And I think it's worth listening to these two artists, musicians, as they share what's been going on in their life over the last year and a half regarding COVID and the tyranny, and them making a decision to step forward and write some music to tell a story about what has been going on. So here, it's from the Bo Show, and here, take a look.